Manchild Roundtable. How you doing tonight? Yes, I am Reverend Paul Casino. We are talking to Jacob, literally Jacob, who asked me not to point. I was just about to, and I stopped. You see, I listen.
Don't point, it's rude.
This week on the show, we are going over the State of Design 2020. Every year, Adderall Beaver and head of R&D for Wizards of the Coast, Mark Rosewater, writes up a State of the Design article highlighting the highs and lows of the year Magic the Gathering from a developer standpoint. And in true Mark Rosewater fashion, he fucks it all up because it's not even close to the end of the year.
2020 is just the year that keeps on giving. Honestly, an extinction level event at this point seems like a good shake for us.
I got my fingers crossed.
You know, they could sell tickets and have bands play and shit. I kind of want to see Smash Mouth play the Shrek song as the giant meteor hits the Yellowstone super volcano.
You mean All-Star?
Yeah. All-Star, whatever the fuck it's called. Shrek Star.
Shrek song.
The Shrek song. I don't know. Like, it's the only song I know from them. I think that there was another song that was popular from Smash Mouth, but who the fuck cares? It's all the same anyway. But anyway, so why don't you tell us a little bit more about this fucking Mark Rosewater squirrel?
Yeah. Who is Mark Rosewater? Why is Mark Rosewater? Well, it depends on who you ask. Some people will say he's just a kid who followed his dream to make his hobby his job. Others will tell you he's a failed television writer who fell up into a position at WOTC after winning the job in a high-stakes game of poker with Norm Macdonald and several unnamed Russian expatriates on the set of Roseanne, which, let us never forget, he was a writer for.
Yeah, I don't think we can forget that.
But who, or whatever Mark Rosewater's final form is, he wrote a thing. We're going to talk about that thing today. With COVID getting down and dirty in all of our lives, MTG Arena is thriving right now. WOTC is raking in cash hand over fist with secret layer drops, collector's packs, VIP packs, packs that pay your rent, packs that get embarrassing unwanted lipstick stains off your collar, packs that change your shorts, packs that change your life.
The VIP packs, they should pay your rent. I mean...
Yeah. Because I'm not paying rent because of them. Now that I'm on Arena, I'm playing more Magic than I ever have before in years, and I'm getting into Standard for the first time in a long time, and I'm spending cash, and I'm telling myself it's for this show, which is bullshit, and I'm hoping I can write all this useless shit off at the end of the year, so WotC's getting a bunch of my cash.
Yeah, I know. I feel the same way. I bought a box of Zendikar set boosters and Commander Legends for the show.
Right, for the show.
So we can all experience that disappointment, resentment, and frustration that we here in late capitalism can all understand. So I just can't wait to get like a whole stack of fucking garbage cards that I'm never going to use and don't want.
So let's go for another one of the general positives that Mark Rosewater listed. I'll give him that. Magic did a lot of things this year that it hasn't done before, as it turns out, for a very good reason, and we'll get into that in a bit. But from companion to showcase cards to those kick-ass Eldraine storybook frames, I love those. Yes, we are getting things that are exciting and new, and most importantly, they're trying new things to push the game into spaces where it hasn't really gone before.
I really thought Companion was fun only because so many people mauled it over it. But Lutri did need a preemptive ban. Yeah, I will say that. That is
insane.
It was insane. It was like the rare occasion.
Oh, you can only have like one of every type of card in your deck. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, no problem.
It's Commander.
It's like that would have made like Kess the only deck in Commander. Like really, like it would have just like obliterated everything else. Other than Mutate, I don't really think that there was anything more that was notable. I mean, as far as mechanics go, I mean, cycling came back, kind of. You know, I don't think anybody really cared about cycling. I mean,
I absolutely care about cycling. The Boros cycling deck is, I think, probably going to be a pretty large part of the brand new like what's going on right now on Arena with the 2021 standard, where you're only using stuff from like Eldraine on. Boros cycling in that is a big part of the meta, and it is. I have one. It wrecks face.
Okay,
It's
well,
really, really useful because it's full of cards that are all cycling 1 and really big effects every time you cycle. So yeah, you can get some really ridiculously huge stuff. Flourishing Fox gets a 1/1 counter on it every time you cycle, and you can easily cycle 4 or 5 times per turn once you get up above like turn 4 or 5. So yeah, those things get out of hand quick. Cycling's kind of no joke, at least with that. We'll see what happens after Zendikar comes out, but right now cycling is okay.
Cycling was really good back when Amonkhet came out. So
Yeah,
like
it's a great mechanic.
I would be surprised if cycling wasn't like a thing in standard. But
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't hear anything about it. Like all I ever hear about is Uro. That's all I ever hear about.
Well, I hate it. That's why. The whales are out there, man. And they are living in a golden age. The market for borderless planeswalkers and full art collector's cards, it's out there, and it's apparently fucking ravenous.
Collector's packs and VIP packs are like, whatever. I don't have a bad opinion about them. I think that if you want to buy that kind of product, you should be able to. Cosmetics and things like that, like the secret layers, some people have a problem with them, and I'm like, I don't know. Why would you have a problem with that? It's like this is one that you heard a lot with the whole slime time one and the dog one that just happened. Oh well, they're not reprinting cards that are valuable. These cards aren't worth anything. It's like who cares if they're not worth anything? That's that's like they're cosmetics. No one is gonna think that your fucking rare pupper on the fucking stupid red card that they have on there. I don't know. What was that? The fucking pug?
Hey man, fuck you! That dog that keeps running into the mirror. That's cute as hell. You just hate dogs because you're dead inside.
I hate dogs because I hate dogs because they're stupid.
You're dead inside.
Because they're dumb. They're dumb. Dogs are dumb.
Nah,
dogs are dumb and they're for
dog.
bad people. I don't, dude. Don't even test me on
Alienating
this.
the audience.
No,
I come on.
What audience? All eight people that watched us, which is 4 of them are me.
Oh wait, 4 of them are you. 4 of them are me.
Oh shit. Yeah, it's not like no one is kidding themselves getting that and thinking that is going to be the next Black Lotus.
Right, and that's not the point of them, though. They're not supposed to be the next Black Lotus.
Exactly, but the collector's boxes, the VIP packs, they're supposed to be filled with more, secondary market value, and that's fine. Opening up boosters always just felt like a big, disappointment. Anyway, like even if you knew you weren't going to get anything good out of it, like say you were opening up Rivals of Ixalan.
Yeah.
You weren't going to get anything good anyway out of that. Maybe like what the Immortal Sun, maybe that. Opening up packs period is kind of like a disappointment. These next
anymore, now the spoiler lists have been now that like spoilers are a thing, well, it wasn't back in the day, but
no,
but the contents of everything. Now you're only looking for maybe like 3 or 4 specific things, and when you don't get them, the whole pack's a wash now.
But I mean, it doesn't even matter with the spoilers. I mean, you're not going to get anything of value. Everything of value is in the VIP packs and in other product, which is why I advocate for people to buy the card they need. Don't go into a booster box thinking you're going to get what you want. I mean, these next 2 sets that I bought booster boxes from, I'm not anticipating getting anything really good out of them. Zendikar set booster, well, I'm only buying that because kind of want to see what set boosters are all about. And then also with Commander Legends, it's like almost a 400 card set. You're not going to open up one of everything out of that set. No. Those two sets, booster boxes, would be the first ones I opened up since Dominaria, and I don't really have any intention of buying VIP or collector for any of that stuff. It's just I don't really want any ugly borderless cards or etched fancy bullshit. Showcase cards make me want to die. I don't know. So,
and if you want them, they're there. And
if I want them, I can go and buy them on the secondary market, which is what I would do anyway. I just wish that WOTC would give as much of a fuck about the actual game that they do about presenting the game to people.
If a company ever says this is gonna be worth something someday, don't believe them. Okay, the stuff that ends up being worth something is the stuff that nobody sees coming. Well,
that's why the reserve list is such a great thing, because there's a guarantee that those things will never ever see the light of day again, like in a new
because
version.
it's a legal thing with WOTC where they're just like, yeah, it's not just for the good of the game. Like, no, if they reprint those things, they're in like legal hot water.
Yeah, which is, I think that the game has gotten to a point now. There's been, since the reserve list, I think there was a revision to it in 2010. They should do this every 10 years where they revise the
kind of look at it and look.
They
where
revise the
and,
list, yeah, and they say
Yeah.
like, hey, these cards are now on the reserve list because we're not going to be printing them again for a long time, and they should,
just so you know,
they should allow cards to be reprinted like Mox Diamond was, in promos, but very sparingly. But we know that
was
WotC
kind of shit-eating of them too, just to be like, oh no, it's a promo, it's not an actual card, we could do
no,
it.
I don't think that was shitty at all, and it certainly didn't hurt the fucking value of Mox Diamond on the secondary market,
which is really the final word. So I guess you're right.
Yeah. So I mean, like, if they reprinted, maybe not Black Lotus, but if they reprinted the Moxes, I don't want to say Moxen because I think that's stupid. If they reprinted the Moxes, all new art, just like they did with the Mox Diamond, I guarantee you that the original Moxes wouldn't fall very far in price.
That seems like a sane way to go about it.
I don't know.
Just kind of trying to look at it maybe every decade, maybe every 5 years, and just say like, hey, does this still hold up? Does this still a point to having all this stuff that's on here? But we're way far off of
we're way off
now.
the topics.
Lessons that WotC learned this year.
Or horrible mistakes that are cancers and that are killing the game.
So the first one, balance issues. No fucking shit, you had 11 bannings. I mean, thank God I play on Arena, where at least they give you, like, wild cards to make up for losing powerful pieces of your deck. I wake up in the morning, if I didn't actually check the news the night before, turn on Arena, and it's saying, like, okay, these are banned, but here are mythic rare wild cards that you can use to get whatever else you want, which is super nice of them and they didn't have to do. But if I spent this week's food budget on a playset of Okos and then down comes the ban hammer, I'd be livid, with good reason, if I'm buying the physical cards. And this is the downside to pushing boundaries, because more often than not, Wizards pushes them way too far. So you want the cards to be like sexy right out of the pack, so when you first see them, you're like, oh, like I'm gonna be able to do something with this. But I understand that, and that's the excitement, and that's part of the booster fun we were talking about, but the power creep is getting out of control.
I gotta say that some of the mistakes, though, that they made, there was some irony to the entirety of the Oko thing. I mean, it was just great to see the game descend into insanity during the Oko, during the Elkening of 2019,
Which lasted like a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Oh, no. It definitely lasted a month, at least. No, because it took them forever to do it. And that was one of the problems that everybody had was it took them so long to ban Oko.
Will you please ban this?
Yeah. People were like, ban Oko, ban Oko. Every fucking forum you went on like Reddit or something like that, it was like, ban Oko. It's like, no, it's hilarious. No one looked at that card and said,
that's out of control.
Guys,
guys,
this could be a problem. This could be a big problem. Yeah, I wasn't even playing the game, during that time. Not at all. I was just focused on school. And, I remember seeing Oko, and I was like, oh, they're going to call him Broko in a couple of weeks. And everybody was like, that's a fucking shitty card, man. What the fuck do you even know? You don't even play the game. And then it's
shitty,
and then all of a sudden it's it's destroying the game at every fucking turn. And it's like, oh, that's great. I mean, like I said, there's some irony involved there. I don't like to use this term because, I'm not a filthy fucking Borthos like you. But if ever there was a flavor win, this would be it. I mean, Oko was a character in the game that was like a trickster king, right? And, man, he just caused problems everywhere he went. And it was great. And it was fucking great. It was a thing of fucking beauty.
This is bullshit, I know. I'm supposed to be.
It was a thing of beauty. Also, you want to talk about a thing of beauty? Oko? He could turn me into an elk any day, let me just tell you.
Rosewater thinks that they need to get better at thinking about the ramifications on all the different formats. Yes, you do.
Them in R&D and play testing. That's their job.
Kind of your job.
You would think it was their job.
Yeah.
Think it was.
You can't really get on them too hard here, because really you've got standard, draft, sealed, pauper, peasant, commander, historic, modern, pioneer, fucking wizard's tower, 5-4. All of these formats have to be taken into serious consideration with each and every card you make. I can't imagine that that's going to be easy.
Seriously, there are like a bajillion formats, and I'm still waiting for Arena to support Vanguard Canadian Chromatic with the requisite explosive cards.
Now
that is a real format right there.
Mm-hmm.
That is a man's format. The cards just explode in your hand. You can't do anything about it.
Yep, it's tough to get. You're getting around the wires and the detonator caps and stuff like that. Yeah.
There's the chain gun that's connected to everybody's hand, and like you wrong move, everybody gets fucking just cut in half by a barrage of bullets. It's fucking. In all seriousness, though, besides my made-up format there, I think that WOTC ought to support Flip and Rip or Iron Man.
I really think that this might be up their alley, too. Go ahead, explain what Flip and Rip is.
Okay, so if you don't know what Flip or Rip, or Flip and Rip, depending on who you're talking to, is a format that you play where you take a booster, preferably one that is high-value cards potential. You take the pack, open it. Do not look at the pack. So you would open it in the opposite direction from where you could actually see the cards. So you want to be able to see the backs, not the fronts. You take the token card out because everybody knows the order that they come in, the standard draft pack. You shuffle them up, right? And then you lay them all on the table, and you and a friend, or you yourself, you can do this. This is one of the rare instances you can play Magic by yourself. You take the first card, you flip it. You move on to the next one, you rip it in half. Then you take the next card, you flip it. So it's more fun if you have two people, because Rochambeau for flip or rip. I saw someone rip up a fucking Scalding Tarn. So they cried.
Yeah.
They cried.
I don't see the personal appeal in like, okay, I'm going to buy a pack of cards, but I'm going to destroy half of them, and then I only get half the amount of cards, but if I have another person with me, I only get a quarter of the amount. It's the thrill of destruction, which I cannot argue with you. The pull. It's not about ripping cards, Jacob. It's about sending a message.
Going back to what we were saying earlier, the likelihood of ever having a perfect balance is just, that's really unlikely. I mean, they should just go back to focusing on standard and making that playable, and then, letting everything else fall into place.
Oh, even like your favorite set has things that are admittedly wrong and bad, and broken in it. It's just tough to get it 100% right. Right.
You're going to miss a lot of things if you're spreading yourself out too thin. I think that's what we're seeing now, is like they're paying too much attention to these formats that are niche at best.
Oh, I'm not going to say Commander's niche at best, man. Commander is probably as popular as Standard, if not more so.
But really, do they want to, what do they want to focus on? Do they want to focus on Commander and just make cards for Commander? Because that's what they're fucking doing with every set.
Oh, I agree completely. I think that the new Commander Legends set, too, might be a bit of a remedy to that. They're going to take all their ideas that they had for Commander recently. If this is a yearly thing, it might be smart for them to okay, take all those ideas that you have for Commander, put them in Commander Legends, and then refocus yourself during the regular year on Standard. Yeah. Don't worry, Commander, okay, you got an idea for Commander? Cool, put it in Commander Legends.
Well,
don't put that in the main sets.
If they do this Commander Legends thing again, they need to temper it. They need to go and, take a few years before the next one.
Because, you think so?
They said that it took them 6 years to make this set, which I don't know why it would have taken that long, but, hopefully it shows. But anyway, yeah, I just think they need to stop with the push shit and just focus on Standard and fucking make Standard what they focus on, because that's what they want originally, right? That's what they care about originally, is Standard playable.
It should be, in my opinion, yes.
Yeah. Because, Commander sells cards, but it sells more cards on the secondary market.
Secondary market, yeah.
And people who play Commander aren't going to go out and fucking buy, this whole, Commander Legends, the precons that are out. There's 2 precons that are coming out, 3 new cards in each precon.
Yeah, that's some bullshit.
Bullshit. I'm not buying that. Fuck that. You know what?
But then those 3 cards are going to be worth Christ knows how much on the secondary market. That's like that's like they were the fake cursed king from Eldraine. Yeah, Thorwald. Yeah, Corvald, I think it is.
Corvald, and then Teferi's protection from what was it, C18? You know, I think, or C17. I forget which one it was, but they ended up reprinting that anyway because it was so popular in Legacy. So, I mean, yeah, there's possibilities of those cards being really good, but I mean, for the most part, like Commander stuff generally is not good in any other format.
Not everything's good in every single environment, you know. What this problem boils down to with everything not being as mechanically cohesive as it could have been was we're still in this weird transition to this blockless format. So it used to be that you had blocks of 3 sets, and you would have the first set that would establish the tone, and it would show off the block mechanics that would run through all the sets that were in that block. Subsequent sets kind of built on that from there, added new wrinkles, but still generally kept the old tricks viable and effective. But now, because we're going to be hopping from plane to plane, from set to set, each plane, they're still doing that thing where each plane has its own set of mechanics. And sometimes they just do not want to jive in standard with the previous set's mechanics because they're just so desperate. For example, and this is a very extreme example, but say you had a set with a theme of -1/-1 counters, and then the next set you had a very heavy theme of +1/+1 counters. So that would offset each other, and you'd be spending a lot of mana to ultimately do nothing. That's kind of a microcosm of what the problem is going on right now in an illustrative way.
Also, if you had like that issue with +1/-1 counters, you'd have like, you know, people's brains overheating from just doing all that math, you know?
I mean, exactly, yeah. But I'm trying to come up with an example that would just show, like, okay, here's 2 sets of mechanics that don't jive, you know, and wouldn't really work. So, what were the set mechanics this year? That's a bit complicated. Well, the first 3 sets were all set on Ravnica, which kind of made that effectively the last of the blocks. This means there were at least 10 new mechanics over the course of like 3 sets, 1 for each guild. And a common complaint was that there wasn't a ton of overlap possibility, but that's what you get with the guilds. They're all distinct. They're not supposed to be a lot of overlap possibility there.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't playing during Return to Ravnica, but I do know that there was, you know, I mean, you either played Boros or you played, you know, Simic or you played something else like that. There was no like real 3-color, 4-color support in those sets. So.
Not supposed to be.
No.
Then you had Eldraine after that, which the big mechanic on that plane was adventure. And that didn't really lend itself into Theros, which is all about enchantments, which didn't really lend itself to Ikoria, which was cycling and mutating, but nothing really flowed into the next one. And yet Standard, like I've been bitching about, has been reduced to 2 or 3 viable decks, so they must have been doing something right to get it all to work together, but it only all works together really well in like these 2 or 3 very specific instances that people build decks around. And that's kind of what I think what they meant. What the problem was that it wasn't mechanically cohesive. It didn't really flow into each other. And when it did, it worked so well that that's all anybody who is sane would want to do.
Yeah. I don't know how you feel about this, but I kind of miss the 3-part block structure that we had. I think it worked a lot better. You know, like, as far as mechanics go, it worked fine. You know,
yes.
I don't
in that
really,
way, yes.
No, everything played pretty evenly across the field with that. I mean, there's exceptions, don't get me wrong, but I think that worked better for a storytelling kind of thing that they were going for. I mean, they always want to tell a story with their cards. Why would you reduce it from 3 acts, which could be like, you know, beginning, middle, and end, you know, to put it simply, and then they just have beginning and end. It's like
bemending.
Bending, you know,
it's all like, one big all at once. Yeah, it doesn't lend itself well to storytelling.
No.
My problem with the 3 set blocks was that, I mean, quite frankly, the third one was never very good. because everyone always just kind of was
That's-
burnt out by then.
That I doubt is always the case. I mean, like,
it was
look
often the case.
at original Zendikar block, like
Yeah.
Rise of the Eldrazi was
Right, but that was it was all building towards that. Yeah, but then you had shit like Dragon's Maze.
yeah,
So
but you also had shit like World Wake.
That was
You know,
second, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Born of the Gods was fucking trash. Nyx was great. Nyx had a lot of good stuff in it.
Yeah. It always seems like it only hit 2 out of 3, though, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Khans of Tarkir, Dragons of Tarkir was fucking amazing, man. Like, I mean, Dominaria wouldn't have worked as like a three set block. It wouldn't have, because like there wasn't enough going on in it. The Ravnica thing should have been a block, you know, with 3 sets in it.
Well, I mean, it was.
Well, no, it wasn't, because each one of those is their own contained set. They're not blocks.
Well, no, that's true. Yeah, it was 3 in a row on Ravnica, but it wasn't a block. Yeah,
Like, officially, it is not a block.
Not a block, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's not. No.
Beyond the storyline, like we were saying, it had more of a cohesive feel when it came to like what the mechanics were doing. I mean, like the first Theros block, Constellation didn't feel out of place, you know, when being played in Standard with Khans when it came out later.
Right, but yeah, Adventure seems out of place in Theros. You know, like it doesn't seem like those type of mechanics. They don't really do mechanically much for one to kind of blend into another. And when something's on an adventure, you can do this cool stuff with the, you know, like with the enchantments lending to that. Like there's kind of none of that because they're very different things.
They're kind of making them their own contained sets. Like,
yeah.
They're not meant to interact with each other, which is really...
But they have to be. If you're having Standard, then they're supposed to kind of not directly connect, but at least like mechanically a little bit have everything kind of jive better. And I think that's what he's saying could have been done better this year. Top-down design, in my opinion, is always the way to go. Focus on the story first, craft the mechanics and interactions around that. It's the old high school creative writing trope of letting the plot happen to your characters versus letting the characters happen to the plot. That's always better. It's always, I think, it comes up with a better product when you're working from a story as opposed to just like, okay, I have this neat idea for mechanic. How do I craft a story out of that? I never feel like that works as well. It does sometimes, certainly, but it's not as consistent, in my opinion. I was pleasantly surprised myself by the softer tone of Eldraine. I didn't think I was going to like it at all. Very happy to be proven wrong. It could have gone poorly, but they injected the grim fairy tales with just enough grimness, I guess, to really make it neat and not cutesy, which is what I was really afraid that it was going to be. We all kind of forgot, too, about how those old school fairy tales were kind of really weird and creepy, and, you know, some of them, like, yes, and then they ate the children alive. Like,
yeah,
Jesus,
they're a little like, fucked up.
And adventure cards were loved. I love the adventure cards. 2 effects per card, allowed for radically different strategies in deck building. It freed up space that would normally be taken up by something else. I don't need to shove a playset of unsummons in my deck. I already got 4 Brazen Borrowers. They do that too. You know, it's fantastic. I love that. I got 4 slots open for something else. I really like adventure cards. They're 2-for-1s, and that's always good.
And when you say adventures, it makes me think of Zendikar. It's just I think that that concept was a little weak, but the whole fairy tale thing, like you were saying, you were pleasantly surprised by it. I was too. They did a really really good job with that set, I think. As far
there were problems with it.
There were problems.
It wasn't perfect. Oko!
Too many elk. The elk is too damn high. Yeah. No,
it's terrible. What were they thinking?
I you know what? There is that old fallback that they admitted to having made a mistake in that case. I think they said that they wanted him to cost 1 more. Which I'm not sure how much of that would have offset
Hardly.
The problems.
It's turn 4 as opposed to turn 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Adamant.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
What's that? No, I know what it is. The joke is, what's that? But no, it's if you use mana of 1 color to cast a spell, it does something differently than if you use mana of multiple colors. It was all part of Eldraine's kind of mono colored. It rewards you for playing monocolors, basically. It's okay.
The thing is, like, with every set, there's like at least one mechanic that just didn't like, either didn't do too much or just was so like
felt empty, or like this feels like you're just throwing it in there,
or like just it's so hard to execute like in any normal like circumstance that it goes unused and people forget about it.
Right, and I think that was a problem with Adamant, was just like there were so many. You're coming off of Ravnica, you've got nothing but multicolored decks. Why are you rewarding people for playing monocolored? Because you're trying to change what people are doing in Standard, but the rewards just weren't good enough.
Well, they could have been setting up. They could have been setting up for Theros, because Theros has. We knew
Devotion.
Yeah, we knew that Devotion was going to come back. I mean, that's So I mean, that could have been part of it. They were trying to like set up for Theros.
I can see that, with monocolored, and that works great with Devotion. That's kind of leading into it, but it just didn't work because I don't think that the for most of the Adamant cards that I remember seeing, like the payoff was never worth. Oh, I'm gonna build a monocolored deck around this one effect. It was never that good.
Yeah, and I don't really remember any monocolored decks at that point in time. It was Simic food like all throughout, like
all day.
Anyway, go on. Move on to Theros. Let's on to ancient Greece.
I like the Theros as a setting fine. I'm not personally the world's biggest enchantments player. I find them a bit static. They don't fit my is it burn bullshit. Enchantments are a bit slow for me, but that's just a personal preference thing. It doesn't mean I hate them or that they're bad. I'll tell you, the one thing I do not like about Theros is the Greek unpronounceable names. Polypkrios? Polypkryo? This one, 3-3, coming at you. God, I think I'm Mark Rosewater saying these things if I have trouble with them. And my perfect diction.
Yeah, no, I can't. I don't even want to think about Mark Rosewater saying these names.
Helio!
I did like the escape mechanic though. Like I've been playing like with a couple of those cards online, so
yeah, they're just fine. Lots of graveyard hate in this set. That kind of balances out escape, which is a bit like flashback, only with creatures, and then you have to exile other stuff to get it out of the graveyard, likely other stuff with escape, so there's some neat and kind of interesting choices to be made there, and the underworld in Theros was always kind of a place oft spoken of, but we never actually got to look at it, so, I mean, exploring the graveyard here was cool. Yeah. I love Hell. I live in Pittsburgh.
It definitely would prepare you for Hell.
Sure.
So, well, technically, in Theros mythology, the underworld is not hell.
Are you actually me, Jacob?
Actually? Therosian mythology dictates that there is no hell.
And I'm actually offended that you put forth that proposition.
All right, that's enough of that. Sagas.
Sagas are great, man. I got nothing bad to say about Sagas. I love them. I think they're the best mechanic to come along in years. They have the opportunity to be like crazy flavorful and tell a really cool story with game-based effects. I just wanted to bring this one card up. That was Modemized Prophecy. Your first effect on this one, Modemized Prophecy, is to Scry 2, which is looking into the future. And then your second effect is choose a card name, like that's the prophecy. The third one is when you cast the spell with the chosen name, you're fulfilling the prophecy and you're getting something good for that by drawing 2 cards. And the fourth one is even more looking into the future because you're looking at the top card of each other player's library and you're not telling them what that is. I mean, that is such a deep, like, perfect example of really cool telling a story with game mechanics on one card. I don't think I've seen one better than that. And this set was full of tons of stuff like that. I love Sagas. They're really, really cool.
I like the card border. I like how these look.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know this one. Actually, I think this one got played on me earlier today, like when I was playing a game on Arena. Mm-hmm. But
but the flavor is just great on this.
Yeah.
I love this card. Yeah.
Well, the Sagas, I think Sagas, as long as they keep to the formula, they shouldn't be in every set. But they should be in.
This is not a Mark Rosewater jam.
Yeah. This is a
Richard Garfield.
This is a goddamn Richard Garfield jam.
Yeah. Yeah, Bestow would have been nice, but whatever. It's, again, one set, and and the last time we did Theros, you had 3 sets to play with.
I didn't really like Bestow when it was a thing back in Standard.
But again, I mean, like, saying that, you learned a lesson by, people missed some of the things that didn't return. It's like, well, last time we were on Theros, you had 600 cards to work with. Now you got, like, a third of that. Yes, some things are going to be left out. The rest of the Titans were missing. People didn't like the fact that story-wise, we were supposed to get 5 Titans, and we got 2. If I had to guess, I don't know, here's some speculation. Maybe going to show up again somewhere they're not supposed to be. Kind of like the Emrakul did on Innistrad.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
The story was underwhelming.
Is that what that was?
Yep.
That was the story?
I was not a fan of them getting rid of the story team. Just a horrible decision that was blatantly motivated by nothing more than, like, oh, I want a fucking 3rd yacht. Like, fuck you, die. Like, it was such a terrible decision.
They kind of threw a temper tantrum after everybody criticized them for War of the Spark.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, yeah, you're not getting a story now. How do you like that, motherfucker?
Yeah, just like a fucking baby. Like
Yeah,
a fucking 10-year-old taking his ball and going home. Fuck you. Anyways, let's see here.
Ikoria. I guess.
I really enjoyed Mutate. I think it's a unique mechanic that resonates with the plane. And that's a real fun playground for degeneracy, really. Yes. Now, with Mutate, you are, in effect, sacrificing a creature every time you use it. But the rewards are normally worth it, and you're rarely mutating anything that's too fantastic. My Mardu Meowtate deck is full of big cats to mutate into, and little 1/1 kitties with lifelink to mutate from. It's great. I also built a Boros cycling deck. I was talking about that earlier. That ended up being crazy powerful as long as I'm not up against Mill.
If you're up against Mill,
doing cycling,
I mean that's a bit of a problem. It's like one of the only instances where Mill is actually kind of an issue.
But yeah, I mean, I think that the mutate mechanic was great. I have no problem with the cycling coming back. That's always great when you're getting mana screwed. Or mana flooded, You can do something about it, which is great. Cycling's a good mechanic. I like it a lot.
Cycling is always it's a classic. I'm really surprised that they let it go for so long before Amonkhet. Like, that was like one of the ones that I was damn sure that we were never ever going to see again. And everybody was like, oh, it's too strong. What
was the first time it showed up before Amonkhet?
I believe it was Urza's Saga. It was in the Urza's block.
First of all, I'm an American. I don't fancy anything. I want shit. Secondly, I don't... I talked about this before. I do not like renaming cards something totally different. It's the cancer that's killing the proxy community. Now there's a template to make anything. You just throw Richard Simmons' picture and over Nissu shakes the world, and now it's Richard who shakes his butt. There's no thematic similarity. It's just dumb. I hate it. But I love Gojira. So that's why I kind of, am a bit of a hypocrite. 'Cause if I could get those cards with Godzilla on them, I totally would. But I hate them.
See, this is exactly the opposite from what I was hearing. Like, I was hearing people, complaining, I don't even like Godzilla! I mean, I'm
not like Godzilla.
I don't know how you can not like Godzilla and be into, fantasy stuff at all. Or, you know? It's all these fucking... That's the thing, is, the Magic community is so full of fucking weeby dorks that you'd expect them to kaiju movies, right? Just on the basis that they're weebs, right? But no, apparently it's too much.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the part that bothers me, but it's just, they're desperate. I don't know. They're too...
I don't have a problem with it. I wish they would have actually made Godzilla part of the game rather than, just giving him, a cosmetic, basically, and just saying, oh, but it's actually this card. That's the thing about cosmetics is they have to be done correctly. They should still be the same card, like those... the secret layers with the dogs, even though I'm not into that.
Yeah, but like the ooze ones. Yeah,
the prime slime one. I mean, they were all very they were still the same card. They were just very different looking. You know, I think that that's the right kind of way they need to approach this, and not this, you know, Godzilla kind of way they kind of screwed it. They actually did. I think they made a Godzilla-sized mistake.
Yeah.
that's some.
I'm sorry,
That's some WOTC approved level of comedy right there.
Yeah, right. That's a Rosewater Roseanne level worthy joke. Is what that is. I'm not as mad about that one. I kind of appreciate them trying something new. And by definition of experimentation, some of that's not going to work. This didn't work at all.
Luris, wow, man. Like that card just screwed up Standard so bad. It was good.
But here's the thing. They fixed it so quickly.
Yeah, but they fixed it.
And they went back and fixed it so quickly. I suspect this might have been the plan the entire time. Release it, watch people coom all over their cards at first, realize it's broken, you know, go on Reddit to piss and moan, and then here, we already have we know how we're gonna fix this already, you know? But you might have done that to just drum up a little bit of drama and get the people on Reddit frothing at the mouth.
That is some MTG Lion fucking level of conspiracy theory you just
think so?
shat out right there. Yeah, I'm
offended that you put me and that marble mouth motherfucker in the same sentence.
No, I don't really think that this was intended the whole time. I think that they honestly thought that this would work and that people would like it because it was like, it's like they're pushing it. They really want to like enter Commander. This is a great way to make Commander standard. We'll have Standard Mander. And it's, you know, it's like
Standard Mander.
Standard Mander.
Yeah, bro. Fuck bro. Bro's for fucking pussies, man. Now we got Companion.
Like, oh, man. No, I don't want Companion Standard Mander. I don't want it. I just want Standard back, please. No, like I really don't think that they did that on purpose. I think that
I'm not saying it was planned. I'm just saying that they might have known that it might not have been a great idea and had a plan B like in the pipe ready to go in case it goes shitty.
Yeah. Well, I mean, plan B was to ban it.
But with something like daring like that and something that's going to fundamentally change the game like Companion did, I think would almost be unwise not to have a plan B just in case this all goes to shit.
Well, that's like a lot of people were suggesting that like they should just make a separate format called Companion, that you could have that, but it'd be like, you know, it'd be like Standard with a Commander. You know, yeah. I don't think that would have been a bad idea at all.
Which is kind of what Brawl is.
Not really. I mean, isn't Brawl like Singleton?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so like, yeah, you don't have to have Singleton.
But it uses all Standard. Yeah, but yeah. I see
well, that would be like the difference with Companion would have been like you just have like a regular 60 card deck, but you have your Companion. Yeah. You know, I mean that works.
I mean, if you want to, sure. But as long, listen, I mean, anything can be a format as long as both players are fine with it. Then go. I myself fell into this trap. This wasn't a set about big old monsters, even though it had a Godzilla tie-in. This was more a set about, like, fucked up beasts turning into fucked or upper beasts, which is harder to pitch than monsters, true. But, you know, when I got the cards, you're expecting, like, 7 or 7 beaters, and that's not what it was about. But it's hard to blame players for thinking so, because, again, you had a Godzilla tie-in, and that's kind of how it was pitched.
Yeah, I was expecting to see like some crazy shit, like a Gigantosaurus from I don't know what it said. It is.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking
like
about.
The 10 for 5. Yeah, I was expecting to see more shit like along the lines of that. Like, you know, it's like.
Yeah. But there was none of that really. It was just, like I said, and it's tough to kind of like say, all right, this set's monsters, and people go like, oh, big monsters. Like, no, medium-sized monsters. Like that's not.
Well, you know, tiny little monsters that turn into big monsters.
They're reasonably sized. They don't get too big.
Well, like, no, if you think about it, though, it does kind of go with the whole Godzilla theme because Godzilla. You know, depending on what origin story you want to go with. I was just going to say, yeah. The mutate thing worked in that regard. I think what happened is they just all got together one night for, like, WOTC movie night, watched Pacific Rim, and were like, you guys want to do a set based on this? Well, we just did Kaladesh, and that had giant robots in it, so we can't do that again. Godzilla! Oh, there we go! Yeah!
The fact that Pacific Rim isn't the highest grossing film of all time just proves to me that people have no taste, and no sense when it comes to films. It was the perfect movie.
You worked at a Blockbuster, so you would know.
I fucking love Pacific. It's robots versus dinosaurs. I'm already
Robots versus kaiju.
Yeah,
they weren't
robots,
dinosaurs.
Okay, you're right. Yes. But still, Wayne Barlow designed kaiju.
Yeah, they were good.
I love that movie.
Yeah, getting back to Ikoria, it was kind of confusing, and it was a letdown when, everybody was like, oh my god, this is going to be the big monster set, and now it's like, nah. There was also the Corona debacle that happened during this, so...
yeah, this was right around that time, too.
Well,
yep.
No, I mean, like, the Corona, the card that said...
Okay, yeah. And honestly, one of the things that bothers me the most about the coronavirus thing is the fact that I have always loved, as a person that enjoys language, I love the word corona to mean like a glowing ring. I've always thought it was just a beautiful sounding word, kind of like Tolkien said with cellar door, how it just flows off the tongue. I love that word corona, and it's just now, negative connotation. Every time you read it now, you're like, oh yeah, and then that virus that killed all those people, and the government was like...
and then Trump was like, inject light into your veins.
Anybody that, needed to be told not to inject Clorox into your veins, just you know what, actually? You know what? Do it.
Do it. Just fucking do it.
Just do it. Do it. Yeah, if you think it's a good idea, if you think it's a great idea...
Because the president said it?
Go nuts.
Yeah, go
for
it.
Nuts.
Just fucking
and same with the people that wouldn't buy Corona beer because of coronavirus.
Corona
should have, released a statement that said, you know what? Don't buy it. You're gonna choke on the fucking lime at some point, kill yourself. You're too stupid for our beer. You'll fuck this up somehow.
I mean, I every day I wonder whether or not it's worth living in this world.
It's not the place, it's the people.
It's the food, really, that keeps me here. I'm Euro fries, man. I'll tell you what. There was the unhappiness with the story that...
Yeah, listen, that's true, and we talked about that, and I promised myself that I'm gonna stay away from things that make me want to just knock another man to the ground and tear out his fucking throat with my teeth, so don't even worry about it. Moving on!
I don't even understand, how they screwed that up so bad. It's like...
It was bad!
It was like, you know what they could do? They could retcon it. They could be all DC about it and be like, oh, it was two different worlds. The story took place in a different universe than the
actual
cards.
Motherfucker. Don't lie to me.
Yeah, don't fucking Tarkir this shit. No, you can't do that.
When the official quote unquote story, which was a short story that was a novella, I think is most you got out of this, directly contradicts what's going on in the cards. And again, this is what happens when you fire your entire story team. And WOTC shouldn't even try to defend this. They should just hang their heads down and say, yes. Yeah, and it's because you got beat, and this is what happens when you throw out an entire division again. So someone can have a solid gold bathtub as opposed to a gold-plated bathtub. That's just fuck
it's
you.
It's like they I don't even know who they get to write the stories anymore. It's like they just
I don't blame the writers because they're just given a list of bullet points. Hit this.
Well, it's like, do they even know the story? Do they even know they don't work with the R&D team? That's clear.
No, they don't.
There's no world building team or anything anymore. That's the problem. And
and the people that get to write the novels. As I understand it, what they do is
novels.
Yeah, right. They just hand the guy Greg Weisman had a whole rebuttal to why his War of the Spark and War of the Spark sequel type novel was decidedly bad. He's like, listen, I got a list of bullet points of you gotta do this, that, and that. He didn't have access to any of the behind the scenes stuff. He's just him and his laptop and a list of bullet points. Dude. And I almost don't blame him for putting together shit because they didn't give him anything.
That writing was hacky as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
That doesn't excuse being told to write something bad and then also writing poorly, to boot. It was he didn't even give a fuck. He's just Venmo me. I don't give a fuck.
Hounds are dogs now. As they always should have been, and now cards can actually say mill. Yay. Minor changes, tiny win, take what you can get, fine.
So the hounds thing really, a couple of years ago, I remember them saying, hounds sounds more fantastic than dogs, and that's why they used it. And it's
I think that was the original, The original
That was the original reason why they didn't use
yes,
dog.
thank you.
Yeah.
Why they were calling it that. Yeah, but it bothered people. It made for other stuff because some stuff was published where it said dogs and some stuff was published in the type line that said hounds, and they never really joined the two. And so for a while there, like, hounds were actually separate than dogs, and people were just like, well, why can't they just
because there was
effects with going all of it?
There was a
it's
card
a fucking dog. They're all dogs.
Yeah, there was a really old card. Hold on one second. Let me see here. It was from Urza's Saga, or Hollow Dogs. They were creature hound. That's super old. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's been a thing since forever.
Oh yeah. They had some really good reprints in 2021. Grim Tutor, Scavenging Ooze, Ugin, Azusa Los Pacific Corkis, T1000, Solemn Simulacrum, all good stuff. Nothing bad to say about the reprints there. They all needed to happen, and I used them in my standard decks today, especially the Solemn Simulacrum. I love that T1000 one, too. That looks really cool.
Grim Tutor, I mean, like, it's okay for standard, I guess, but I mean, like, when it comes to actually being a good tutor for commander,
when
it comes to being a practicable tutor for commander, it's not something you want to use. No. Like, it's garbage. It's complete.
If that's all you got, you know what I mean.
I mean, it's better
if that's all you got. It's serviceable, but it's not the best one. Right.
It's better than, like, nothing, I guess, or it's better than Diabolic Tutor.
And I can give or take them. I mean, whatever. I'm all digital at this point, so I don't get as excited about fancy frames and foils. I like the idea of a cycle of spells in a core set that are based around a planeswalker. That's a neat idea. It helps tie core sets together, which have a reputation for being disconnected piles of reprints. So anything that ties a core set together like that is good.
One thing about the planeswalkers, why did there need to be 5 different versions of Teferi?
Oh, I don't know.
And they're all, like, very slightly different. The shards of whatever is magic or whatever is, like, in different positions in each one. And it's like, and they're slightly different colors. Like, one's kind of purplish, the other ones are kind of blue.
It's a neat piece of art, but it didn't need, like, 2 versions that were just only tiny little bit different. Yes. Were they? I've played a ton of 2021 draft. I see these fuckers floating around like pick 8 or 9 on the regular. I can see them being a thing in Modern or Pioneer. I don't like the Shrines, though. But according to Mark Rosewater, the Shrines were a hit.
The Shrines were a hit. I guess, like, with people like Mitch from the Commander's Quarters, like, people who were, like, convinced that Shrines are going to be a tribal thing in Commander now. It's like, yeah, great. You have the Kamigawa shrines, you have these new shrines, and then you have, like, shrines from Odyssey. No one's gonna fucking use them. They're fucking terrible. Aven Shrine, Cabal Shrine, Kephalid Shrine, Dwarven Shrine, and another shrine that's not even here. Nantuko Shrine is the green one from that cycle. So, yeah. I mean, like, who's gonna use those? Why? And they don't even have, like, any of the shrine synergy or anything like that. They're not going to work with it. So shrines are not a thing. They'll never be a thing. You can't force a meme. Don't force a meme deck, okay? It's not going to work. I mean, you can fantasize about shrines all you want, but then they're not going to happen.
Experiment with it some, but I mean, yeah, I don't see how they would be. Again, like, you're talking Modern. I wish I knew more about Modern than I did. I don't.
Modern? No. They're talking Commander. Like, that's all I ever hear about it. Like, with shrines. Yeah. I guess you could do it in Modern.
Yeah.
I guess you could do it in Modern, but who cares about Modern?
Yeah. Gavin Verhey cares about Modern.
Nobody. I don't know who that is.
He's what happened when someone had sex with a potato. Teferi was the face of the set this year. When Chandra was the face of the set last year, we got a vertical set of 3 Chandra Planeswalkers with her from various stages of her life. People were dreading this with Teferi being this year's icon. There's already like 6 Teferi Planeswalker cards. They're all damn near broken because you're dealing with time fuckery. Teferi Time Raveler just got banned because, for one, it single-handedly shut down all decks that focused on Flash. If you had a Flash deck and you were going against a deck that had Teferi Time Raveler in it, congratulations, you can't play Magic. You'll sit there now.
It's beautiful. It's
big
great.
fun. Big fun.
I love it.
Yeah, so that's why people were thinking. That's what people were thinking was coming. Horrible broken shit. And then when it didn't, they complained anyways, which was weird.
Well, I mean, I don't know what people want. Like,
no, exactly. It's finding what people want. Again, like, people were afraid that there was going to be too much Teferi in this set, and then when there wasn't too much Teferi, they're going, not enough Teferi. Core sets are very hard to get hyped about, but they provide much-needed reprints. We saw what happened when they went away for a few years, but they also suffer from an identity crisis. I mean, are they for new players? If so, is it smart to introduce new mechanics here? If not, what's the point of even doing a core set in the first place?
Well, they're for newer players. It's not like they don't make enough money to fucking make a core set every year.
Yeah.
God, you know, it's like give the new players an inroad like core sets. You said that they were nothing really to be hyped about. I don't think that they're supposed to be hyped about.
Well, I mean, they're nothing to get hyped about. I said they're hard to get hyped about.
Yeah, they're hard to get hyped about, and that's why for the returning players, for the experienced seasoned players, you really want those reprints in there. And I think the one thing that we can all take away from M21 is that we now all know who out there in the Magic community can't pronounce the word conspicuous. That's especially worrying because one of the most prominent people that mispronounced the name of the card Conspicuous Snoop was a former English teacher.
Many Magic the Gathering players can't pronounce the word conspicuous.
Many Magic the Gathering players are looking right at you.
I was not say his name though. You know who I'm talking.
No, I met him. I've met him. He's a nice guy.
Seems like a nice guy. Yeah.
He smells good too.
Jump Shark! Sure. Neat idea. You take 2 separate smaller decks, you smash them together, you make a single deck, you play with that. I've barely touched them. I don't have much of an opinion. There was a week or so on Arena where you could play with the cards from there. It was fine.
I'd rather play Smash Up. It's just more fun.
Yeah, I mean, I got a Chandra deck and a Dogs deck, and I smashed them, and I went 2 and 3, and it was fine. People didn't like the fact that there wasn't enough of it. There seems to be a victim of the whole COVID thing, so you give me a pass.
The misprints, though. Like, seriously, that's not forgivable. And I don't really mean in a way that, you know, I blame everybody at Cardamundi or however they do it there. You know, I don't give a fuck if there's a fucking blood spitting plague out there. You know, I want my Magic cards, motherfucker. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, this sets...
People are bleeding out of their eye sockets. It's
I've got
This is supposed to be a 3 casting cost. It's fucking bullshit.
It's covered in blood. What the fuck is this, man?
I paid for this. I work hard.
No. This does set a precedent, though, that I don't think that I want to see any more of this. I really hope that Zendikar Rising and future sets aren't marred by this, because these misprints were just like beyond anything.
And I understand why it happened, but it really shouldn't have. And again, it's ink on cardboard. It's just look at the final proofs and just be like yes or no.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
well, it's not even the proofs, because misprints can happen after proofs are done.
Yeah. No, that's true.
But it's just the fact that, you know, oh my God, like, come on.
It was like, left and right, yeah. And
like,
you know,
who was asleep at the wheel there?
And Perp was talking about how there are people out there who play full games, but they're looking for those type of misprints because they're playing the card as is.
Yeah, I have a few misprints. I went through that phase where I was collecting misprints.
Are they worth a few bucks, or to the right people? Or
that's the thing. Okay, so it's the old signature kind of thing, where it's like some people will pay way higher for like a Christopher Rush autographed Black Lotus. Some people will pay nothing for it because it's trash. It's written on
because it's been marred or whatever. Yeah.
I kind of like the uniqueness of a lot of the misprints and miscuts, but these are just trash. Like there's just so many of them. Like I can't imagine that they would hold any market value even with misprint collectors. So
I mean, if you're gonna cheap out on cardboard, I guess this is as good a place as any to do so with a set that's largely going to be played a few times and then put in a shoebox.
Are you talking about the cards in Jumpstart Curling? Or are you talking about the misprints?
Cards in Jumpstart Curling no, I'm not talking about misprints at all. I'm talking about the actual like physical cardboard quality stock that they're using that doesn't seem to hold up as well, feels flimsier. Sometimes you do get the curling going on. It's just you have a Magic card that's from a Master set, and you have a Magic card that's from Jumpstart, and you feel them both, and there's a definite like, yeah, this feels pulpier kind of, you know. I mean, and again, if you're gonna cheap out on card stock, an introductory set like this, I guess, is where you're going to do it if you absolutely have to.
I wouldn't even say that this is an introductory set because, like.
That's kind of the way they pitched it, though. I mean, its name is Jumpstart.
How in the world are you going to get a feel for how Magic is played if you're doing it this way? This is kind of like an ancillary like thing to me. I don't know, like so their definitions, man. They're going off the rails a bit with the innovation products. But yeah, I don't know. I guess that was the state of design in 2020, which. You know, I mean, I'm going to gripe a little bit here about him not talking about Zendikar 3 or Commander Legends. Bully, that's it.
Say Uncle Mark.
Let's start a hashtag. Hashtag bully Mark Rosewater.
Pulling your underwear up over your head. This way he's going atomic.
We're going to fucking atomic Melvin this motherfucker. Every day, Mark. Every day. You're going to get a swirly, or you're going to get a purple nurple, or you're going to...
a Hertz donut.
What's a Hertz donut, guys? You walked into that, Mark.
The real test here is going to be if they actually listen to and fix any of these complaints that they now admit they have heard. Spoiler alert, they will, but they'll probably half-ass it. I mean, three-quarter-ass, possibly, but the point is that we will be here to stand bulwark against the flood of bad cardboard and keep pushing forward ever better, smarter cardboard for all of America and your mom here at Manchild Roundtable. Your mom, God bless her soul.
God rest her soul.
Yeah. Well, she's not dead or anything like that. She just needs rest.